Welcome back, guys. Today I wanted to do an introduction of a new headlamp, or at least new to me. Nitecore came out with this NU20 Classic. I don't know exactly when. I'm thinking about a year ago, best as I can tell. I didn't know it existed until recent time. And if you recall, you can go back and look at one of my older videos. About a year and a half ago, I did a comparison of the NU25. This is a Gen 1. Seeing a lot of mileage. This one in particular, the headband's all stretched out, lots of mileage on it. I've got, I don't know, I don't exactly know how long I've had this one, 6, 7, 8 years perhaps. So this is Gen 1, and you can, of course, go back and look at the video about Gen 1. Gen 2 is this one here. I'm not planning to go through all the specs, but, of course, Nitecore had the Gen 1, then they had the Gen 2. More or less, my video previously was I really like the NU25 Gen 1. And I was kind of disappointed in the Gen 2. There are various upgrades that we could speak to there on the Gen 2. You know, you got the shock cord headband. I'll say this is holding up better and probably more reliable than the Gen 1 headband, but, you know, I find the Gen 1 headband more comfortable. You know, the shock cord weighs less. Yeah, the pros and cons. So I will admit that it can easily come down to personal preferences here, and that's what I'm speaking to, I suppose. Anyway, what I really liked about the Gen 1 is the simplicity of the modes. Gen 2, the modes, there's more numerous modes, but they're, in my opinion, more difficult or more complex to access those modes. The 2-button user interface system on the Gen 1 and NU25 is very simple, easy. I really like it. So, what didn't I like about the Gen 1 NU25? Well, it's classic, you know, micro. I don't know how well that's going to come into frame, but it's your classic micro USB connector. Of course, the entire industry has gone to USB-C, so you look at the NU25, it went to USB-C. I'll say that was, you know, probably my favorite upgrade of the Gen 2, right? But going back, it's like, well, let's just jump right over to the NU20. Shock cord carryover, it's got, basically it's a Gen 1 NU25, you know, I'll say light, with USB-C connector for charging. Basically it's a Gen 1 NU25 with USB-C charging and a shock cord headband. I think that's this could be the best setup that I've seen out of Nitecore, and I have had a preference for Nitecore. I realize other people have headlamps, but in general, for my purposes, for my use, Nitecore, I think, in this product range, had the best solution for me. Just to detail that out for a second, I'm talking basic shop usage, home usage, even, you know, hiking and so forth. There are certainly more powerful lights. I'll point to this Nitecore UT27. I'm not going to talk about this for long because it is a fairly new light to me. I've had it for a little over a year, seen very little use on it, and it's broken. The battery is heavy. The light output is, of course, significantly more over these other things on the table, but it's heavy and it didn't hold up. It was unreliable, so I don't even use it anymore. I just drug it off the shelf because I happened to have it and I figured I'd show it. So the UT27 is a do not recommend for me. Yeah, I don't like it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull that off the table. Don't really like it. So, what else is there to say about these? I like them light. I like the fact that this is a USB-C charge. I think it's going to be great. With that said, I've only had it for a couple of weeks. I can't say how it's going to hold up. One of the things I will note on the Gen 1, again, the light itself is durable. One thing I've had is I've got quite a few of these in service. I've got multiple kids that have these. My wife has one. I don't remember. I've probably got 4 or 5 of these in service. The bracket, this bracket has a tendency to break in this thin strip of plastic. With that said, I've personally never broken one. I could probably blame it on my kids and rough usage, but you know, that's one thing to keep in mind on the Gen 1. Well, you pop over here to the new NU20 Classic. It doesn't have any of that thin plastic with how this shock cord attaches. I suspect that portion of this will be more reliable than the Gen 1 NU25. Another place that I've seen some issues at times is on this hinge mechanism. On certain products, I just showed you that UT27. This guy, it's got a new hinge kind of arrangement. I don't know how well it's going to hold up. It looks like it's a little less durable, perhaps. But like I said, I've only had it for a couple of weeks. I can't speak to whether that's going to hold up well or not. Either way, I didn't know this NU25 was now available. Like I said, I think it's been out for a year or so, or thereabouts. I would just want to let people know that it exists, and right now, if I didn't have a headlamp and was going to buy one, it would definitely be this NU20 Classic. If you take to Amazon right now, I think they're roughly 20-25 bucks, something like that. I think it's an excellent value. So just wanted to make this to give you an update. We'll find out in a couple of years. I might liking this NU20 Classic better than these other 2 Nitecore options. Not to disparage those 2 at all, but I think that might be the best headlamp available.